Now, what's the significance of Monument Hill?
It was on a point that the highest part of Jefferson County, but it's an area when the cattle drivers, drovers would get up to a certain point, they could home in on it. In other words, they could see it, and they'd know that that was north, just to be able to take their cattle on by that point. And usually they always stop up there and camp overnight because there's a spring nearby, or a stream, and they could bed the cattle down. It's pretty good pasture, and then they could water the cattle and get ready to hit it next morning early. And it became Price Cattle Company's property later when it was settled, or open for settlement. And Mr. Henry Price, who was the founder of the Price Cattle Company, created Pickens County Cowpunchers Association, and he was president of it for a number of years. But they had quite a membership of old drovers that rode the Chisholm Trail, and it was Mr. Price's idea to designate a certain area to build a monument dedicated to the drovers that drove cattle up the trail. So they, about in somewhere around 1930 or early 40s, they built the monument, which is it's concrete, about 40 feet high, and about it tapers from the base to the top, and it's possibly 12, 15 feet wide at each base, or each side of four sides, and tapers to about 3 or 4 feet square at the top. And there are places that were made or sculpted or whatever, built into the monument for placing plaques in it, and they were going to be the drovers' names, and bronze plaques would be placed there. But World War II came along, and they never got around to it. And somewhere, according to Margaret Price, they've been lost or unable to locate the name. So in order to get something going, we got together with the Prices and Chisholm Trail Museum and the local Waika people, everyone concerned, and got Bill Willis over from Granite to give us an estimate on what it would take to put the 4 plaques in the monument, which he did. I don't know what the fee was, because I wasn't there at the time, and it was paid for strictly by the Prices, so it was a little concern to me. But it was getting done anyway. The Willis Granite Works did the job at Granite and brought them over here and placed them in. About a week, it was dedicated November the 11th or 12th, I believe, of this year, 1982. We had a great turnout for it. Had Lieutenant Governor Spencer Bernard, Bill Bradley, who was representative, and all the various city officials in the area, Duncan and Morica and Addington. But it was very cold that day. And we had, I'd judge, around 200, maybe 300 people there for the opening.
And, you mentioned Pickens County.
Yeah.
What is Pickens County?
That was an area designated by the, I want to say, the territorial governors or governor or authority before Oklahoma statehood, designating 3 or 4 counties area wide as Pickens County, and it was used for grazing purposes, and it was to be leased from the Indians, to be drovers, cattle drivers coming up from Texas could graze their cattle and pay a fee to the Indians. But then statehood came about, and it was chopped up into counties. So it was just a kind of a standby county that lived. It's fairly short life. And now let's see, we got. I want to mention that when the Cowpuncher Association was active, they would every year. It was an annual thing to a fair barbecue at this Monument Hill, which is located 6 miles north of Waurika at Addington, Oklahoma, 2 miles east of Addington, on a hill there. And they'd have these barbecues and have parties, and all the politicians would make it a point to come out and on down bottom or down the hill there, try to solicit votes. So they'd spend most of the day either partying or playing games, kids would, and the politicians would make their speeches. And they'd right down here now. They'd have just lots of fun and eat lots of barbecue, make a day of it. But it stopped, I guess, about the time World War I or World War II came about. They discontinued the barbecues, and most of the old drovers passed away and were forgotten about. And that old windmill's been there a long time. A tree grew up on it. But it's just a beautiful monument, and since the plaques have been installed, and it tells the story of the reason for the trail, reason for the monument, and just everything about it. It's just a very interesting and wonderful occasion here.
You say it's on the Price Ranch now?
Uh-huh. And the Price...
How did the Price Cattle Company get this land? How was the land allotted, or do they buy it? Was it allotted, homesteaded, or what?
It was through allocation, the allotted process. Henry Price came by it, and I'm not completely sure there's so much of it. I'm not sure that he came by different methods, different ways, but I can't honestly say in its entirety as to how he came by. But it's very big. If you can see the map of it, it covers several miles.
Who had the original idea for the monument?
I'd say Henry Price did when he helped form the Cowpuncher Association.
Yeah. When did they start calling this hill Monument Hill?
Well, at the time they built the monument on top of it.
What was it called before then? Or did it have a name?
This Lookout Point.
Lookout Point?
So the story goes is a lot of the drovers would get rocks and pile up on top there to make it taller so they'd see it more vividly, putting more rocks on top of it. 2 different little areas there. You can see two little hills or humps. They put pile rocks on top, and they've been gradually scattered or carried off or used for something else, for fill-in work. So it's they say that you can find rocks there with drovers' initials on them, where they'd carved their initials with their spurs or knives, whatever they had that they could carve into the rock. Well, you can still find them there somewhere. Now there's one drover that's buried on top of Monument Hill. His name's Tom Lattimore. He's a black fella that rode the Chisholm Trail for years, and he became, when he got a little too old, I guess, to drive the trail, he went to work for Mr. Price and worked for years and years for him on his ranch, and he asked Mr. Price at one time if, when he did pass away, he could be buried on top of Lookout Hill or Monument Hill, and Mr. Price honored him by doing that. So he has a nice marker there, and it's visible when you find it. I kind of remember the direction it is from the southeast, about 60 to 75, well, maybe 100 yards from the monument. So if you just start out in that southeasterly direction, you'll find it. But the monument, I mean, the headstone is flush with the ground. It's marble and has his name and I think the date of his birth, death. No, it has the death date, but it doesn't have the birth date because evidently he didn't know what his birth date was.
You know the background of this Mr. Lattimore? What his background was?
No, sure. Just he was a trail drover, and everybody that knew him just loved him. He's just a wonderful fella, and he loved children. He taught many of the local children how to ride horses, and even the Price children. John Henry, Robert, Margaret, and James. Well, I can't remember. There's one other. They call him Skeet, but I can't remember his name. But he taught all those children to ride and how to take care of the horses. And he's just a wonderful ranch hand. Everybody thought the world of him.
Have you found any rocks up here with initials on them?
No, I haven't really spent that much time up here to look around that much or that thorough. But we have a slide presentation at the museum showing the Monument Hill, and it does show a couple of rocks that had initials carved into them.
Where are those rocks now?
They're right here. It's just parked right up in there. They're right along there. Be arcing along it. I don't know. Maybe we can find some up there. There's several rocks, but we might be able to find some. It's a little bigger than a person realizes when you get up to it.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of jumps out at you. Left this open so people can come up instead of driving up. You know, don't cars grab a beer park. Ruining the scenery. But it was cold that day. Yeah. 38, 40, somewhere in there. And World War I kind of interrupted the program.
World War II.
Me too, I'm getting old, I guess, Joe.
Where's the gravesite? Tom Lattimore died in 1944. Yeah. How high is this point? Any idea?
No, it's occasionally now.
Now, where exactly did the trail pass by here?
Well, it's kind of split both sides of this thing. The heaviest part of the travel on this side.
On the east side of it?
On the east side. They'd camp down in here, well, just wherever they want to throw camp. But there was a stream or a river, a creek nearby to the north. And they could get to water their cattle there and proceed on the next morning. They would always, on the drive, they'd seem like, as I have understood it, they'd always stop here to spend the night. So that was a good watering place. Pasture was good.
How long did it take to ride the whole trail? Start to finish.
Somewhere about 45 days on the average to 50 somewhere.
And it started in South Texas and
Start around San Antonio and continue on up to Caldwell, Kansas, usually is the first. And then several other areas open for cattle, other cattle pens, and several other towns opened up. And it just depends on where the water was good and vegetation, so they could pasture, as to which town they would sometimes take their cattle to sell them. So it might be better in Wichita than it would be in Caldwell, so they'd go on the other route, which wasn't too old, much different, but maybe the market was better. That had everything to do with the market.
what was the average size of the herd?
About around 3,000 head. It usually takes 12 to 20 growers or men to move them up. But there's been, there's records showing millions of cattle driven up. You know, of course it varies.
Of course, it lasted from 1867 to 1889.
Yeah. Which was about 20 years.
What killed the trail?
There's two or three things that killed it. The railroad moved down south, so they didn't have to drive it. Moved into Texas. Didn't have to drive a cattle clear up in Kansas. Barbed wire. When the land opened for settlement, well, they couldn't get their cattle behind the wire, barbed wire. And then, well, this tick fever too was bad. The cattle would bring that tick fever into the Kansas, and they evidently the cattle, the longhorns didn't catch the fever, but the high-strung or high-bred cattle would. So that was another reason it'd stop them and turn them back and everything else. If they hadn't been dipped or didn't have proof showing that they had been dipped in oil, like Ed said, or used poison mixture. Two types.
Yeah, the
Strychnine,
arsenic and
arsenic, whatever it was.
You ever thought of buying one of the rocks and putting it in the museum?
Well, I thought of it, just never been able to get the time together to come out here and hunt one. And, I hate to remove one, really.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to come out sometime and see what all, if I could find a number of rocks that still had the initials in them.
There's a pile over there.
That could be another bunch of
I don't know if that walk up like this, off a big rock.
You ain't good Hamilton.
Yeah. There's a funny line on that rock. I don't know what it is. May not be anything. I don't know. But
Yeah, they could have drugged something across it.
yeah, snakes are bad this time of year. Starting to come out.
And this is a little rattlesnake country. It's very impressive, isn't it, that old monument standing there?
Yeah, it is. And this is the highest point in Jefferson County.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I wish I could remember the elevation. Sure don't.
Well, get a geological map, it should have it on it.
Well, an air map, I've got an air map. That's good.
Now, does this belong to the state now, or? How come the Chisholm Trail Museum is in Warwick?
Through the efforts of the Warwick, Jefferson County, I'll say Jefferson County Museum Association,
Mhm.
which had a membership at the time about, say, around 1965. They had a large enrollment membership of 30 or 40 people.
How come they didn't try for Duncan?
Well, Duncan had a museum.
They did?
As such, it was the Stevens County Museum, and I guess they didn't really compare in competition with it.
Let me.
Got them interested in Chisholm Trail Museum here at Waurika. Well, to make a long story short, they were able to convince the legislature that they be a great thing, so the legislature appropriated, as I remember, $135,000 to build a museum. And,
Do you get any support from, like, Texas or Kansas for the museum at all?
no,
Or they have their own museums?
Kansas. Well, now, when you look at a map or study a map of the Chisholm Trail or the Texas, what you call it, Texas Chisholm Trail, there's so many different forks on it. They come from so many different directions. It's hard to pin down just where the Chisholm Trail did go in Texas. But like I said, the majority of it, they came up from San Antonio, but they would fan out, go different areas, different directions, and come in the Red River Crossing down here, and then come on up the trail, the Chisholm Trail, which at first is called the Cattle Trail, and when the reporters got to writing about it, man, they writing stories about the Cattle Trail. Chisholm came out in the newsprint sometime or a newspaper, and it stuck. So it was the news media actually that started called it the Chisholm Trail. Just writing stories about it. But Kansas, it was, I guess, I don't know of any museum up there that would be related to the Chisholm Trail. It could well be, but I just don't know of them. I haven't spent that much time up in Kansas. But before the legislature would approve expenditures for the Chisholm Trail Museum in Waurika, well, they had one in Kingfisher. There was a museum in Kingfisher, the Chisholm Trail Museum. So they had to come up with a different name. So there wouldn't be a confliction, so consequently they called this one the Chisholm Trail Historical Museum. And the Kingfisher Museum is just the Chisholm Trail Museum, since they were there first.
How come they went ahead and decided to build two museums instead of one?
Instead of one? The Chisholm Trail Museum in Kingfisher is owned by the Kingfisher Historical Society, or that's how it started. I don't know if they still own it or not. But, it didn't tell enough of the story. It had a lot of. Now this is secondhand. I don't know. I haven't visited that much, but people were disappointed because they go up there and you just there was no rhyme or reason for things that would be exhibited, and so the Jefferson County Museum Association thought they could build a museum and do a little better with it. Well, I thought the funny thing about it, the tourism department built the building because it was to be a tourist attraction. I mean, tourist. Anyway, tourism station, you know. So they went ahead and built the thing, and then if they got it finished, well, they turned it over to the Historical Society, make a museum. public, which took about a year. My wife and I, and occasionally we could get the carpenter over to give us a hand from Medill, a fellow named Paul Castleberry, and a little volunteer help around Warika. Kind of disappointed when didn't get more volunteers out of the Warika area, because they kind of had the idea, I guess, that since the state was building it, we'll let them do it. Why bother? We couldn't realize that we could sure appreciate a little help with it. So we just stayed after it and got it finished in 75. Other than one of the worst of dates. We finished it, I think, about the same year. Dedicated in 75. Let's see, can't think of something else.
What's this old building here?
It's an old bank building. Everybody says, oh, it's an old hotel, but it isn't. It's a bank.
How old is Addington?
It's probably it's older than Warika, because it was on the trail, on the Chisholm Trail. With there was Duncan Station or Duncan Store on the Chisholm Trail, which later became Duncan. There was Addington and then Ryan that were on the Chisholm Trail at the time the drives were in progress.
What was the purpose of the town? Just to serve the drovers or the stopovers or what?
No, it was used. Let's see. Yeah, it was for the settlers and the drovers to sell goods and supplies to them, and to the settlers and to the Indians in the area that wanted to buy things or trade sometimes, barter. But I wish I knew someone we could interview in Addington, because it has some pretty interesting history, and it's had a number of bank robberies. So I'm told that at one time there was 2 banks in Addington, and one bank that was on the main road through Addington, the owner of it closed the bank because his reason was that it had been held up, been robbed so many times that he just couldn't stay in business. So I wish I'd like to find out more about it, really, and which would be interesting reading.
When were these towns established?
I'd have to just venture a guess about 18 and 95 and 94 in that area.
So they were established after the trail then?
Majority of them were, yeah.
Oh, okay. Were there any towns along the Chisholm Trail at all?
And that's
While
the
the trail
stores,
was active.
really, the stores that crop up. Now, your Duncan store was there, and your Fleetwood store, or Fleetwood Station, they call it, which is that Red River crossing down. When you cross the river with the herds, you come to a little store settlement of Fleetwood. A fellow named Houston Fleetwood settled that. He was Indian. Well, I can't say that he's full blood or half breed. I'm not sure, but the story that is interesting about Houston Fleetwood, when he and a friend were riding horseback somewhere for supplies for his store there, they we're on the way back to Fleetwood when his friend told Houston he was going to ride on up ahead and he'd meet him up there. But when Houston got up in that area, well, the guy shot him with a pistol, and the bullet entered his hip, and of course it knocked Houston out of the saddle off on the ground, and his friend became very apologetic and wanted to help him. Got him to a house nearby or somewhere in that area, and they went for a doctor. And when his friend got the doctor back to the house, or the doctor arrived, and his friend left the country, then the doctor started probing for the bullet. And when he recovered the bullet, well, Houston said he wanted to hang on to that bullet. He wanted to keep it and remold it and use it to shoot his friend with as a favor. So Houston, he didn't recover. Poisoning set in, blood poisoning, and he died from that bullet wound. But that was an interesting piece of history that I've heard several times, so I'm kind of the opinion is some truth to it.
Are there any stories about the outlaws in this area?
No, nothing I've heard of. Now there was a ranch over east of us here, the Billy Washington Ranch, that later became known as the Billy Washington Range Wars. That was the headquarters. And I don't know enough about it really. I've got intentions of reading all about it, getting acquainted with it. And it's a significant part of local history, and I haven't gotten into that end of it. But I really thought it was nice to.
April 27th, 1983. This is Joe Todd with an interview with Mr. James Phelan of Monument Hill and the Chisholm Trail Museum. Chisholm Trail